So I've got my Hausa Koko. I've added my milk and I'm giving it a good stir. I love Hausa Koko. I can drink it every day. And I normally drink it with a straw because it means a contempa. It goes faster. Okay. So hello everybody, welcome. And my name is Samira. In my Hausa Koko video, which I published not very long ago, I told you that I'm going to show you ways you can preserve your Hausa Koko. If you love Hausa Koko like me, you love to drink it every day, and even not every day, even once in a while, and today is the day, I want to show you how, okay? So I would like you to stay with me as I go through the different ways you can store it and the period you can store them for, okay? So stay with me and then I'll show you. So I have about 12 mason jars here, okay? And this is what I'm going to be using to preserve my Hausa Koko. So we're going to be using the process of canning to preserve it, okay? And I'm going to be washing these bottles, okay? And canning requires very clean surfaces. Make sure that you clean everywhere and around, and make sure that the area you're going to be working is not contaminated, okay? So I washed my bottles first, okay? And as I was saying, canning is a process of preserving, not necessarily in a can, but it's just the process that is called canning. So you can do them in bottles, and you still call it canning. In plastic bottles and in cans are used in the factory basically, but home preservation is usually bottles like this, okay? So I'm giving it a very good wash, rinsing and making sure that it's nice and clean, okay, as you see there. So the next thing I will do after washing these is to dry them, okay? So the next stage is for me to sterilize these bottles, okay? So there are two ways you can sterilize the bottles, okay? Either you put them in a pot and you boil them in like a pot filled with water and boil them, or you put this on a baking tray and you put it in your oven, okay, at a high temperature, right? So I'm drying these now, and the next step, the process I'm going to be using is the oven method, because that is easier and less messier, okay? So I'm going to be putting everything on my baking tray here, right? And then I'll pop it in my oven. So I'm going to be sterilizing it in my oven for 15 to 20 minutes at 180 or 180 to 200 degrees Celsius, right? Okay. And in a different saucepan, I can't do that with the lid. So in the different saucepan, I'm going to be putting my lids in it and boil it. Okay. So I'll boil it for 10 minutes and then that will be it, right? So once 10 minutes is up, I'll just take it out and I'm going to be dropping them on this kitchen towel to dry, okay? I also have a laundry napkin at beneath, if you can see that, okay? So just like, for it to drain on top of it, right? So the next step, now that everything is ready, it's very easy. It just looks like processing it also, but trust me, it's very easy. My cocoa is ready and I am pouring my cocoa in the bottle. So I have a funnel, and this one too, you can sterilize it. I sterilize mine, but without showing it, okay? So yeah, and it has to be very hot. Your cocoa has to be very hot, right? Because we're going to be canning them, and it needs to be hot, right? So more heat will kill the germs in the bottle. So if any one germ be like, or a stubborn or disappear, yeah, the hot cocoa, right? So you cover everything up, and the next step we'll do is to move them into a hot pot of water, okay, a big pot of water, and then we're going to boil it, and that is what is called the canning process. So what that does is it kills all the all the microorganisms that will cause your cocoa to decay, right? Okay, to ferment as well, okay, because cocoa it's Hausa fermenting. Okay, fermentation can the same word. I mean, can say. Okay, so yeah, here's my pot. A bigger pot will do. I didn't have a very big pot. This is what I had, but yeah, it still worked perfectly. Okay, so the water is boiling, and I'm using my tongs to just pick up my cocoa, my mason jar of cocoa, and dropping them in the saucepan. Okay, so I fill the saucepan with it, all of it. Not all of it will go. I'll do it like in 2 batches also. Come you know, can't sing. So yes, it boils. I let it boil for 10 minutes. Then I start to take them out. Okay. So when you take them out, the cocoa is still watery. You see, when I turn it, you can see the cocoa is running. That's fine. Once it sits there and cool down, the cocoa will thicken. So if you can make the cocoa very light at the beginning, not very cooked at the beginning, and you pour it in your jugs, that will be perfect. Okay, so yeah, the first bit is done, and that is the ultimate way you can store your cocoa. This is what people use to store their cocoa too. I mean, there is a woman that sells cocoa. That's how she stores hers to sell, but she puts them in yogurt jar, pots like that. So I have a friend saying, we call a friend saying, I'm a friend flask. Okay, so I have this flask. Okay, that you can also store. But this one, you can store them for, I mean, like this particular batch I'm doing, you can store them just for a few days, right? And here, the porridge, I was mentioning making the cocoa light, and that's what I've done. What I mean by light is you don't let the cocoa burn. The cocoa will not be like, ready to, I don't know how to explain this one. But you don't make it like, you don't make the water super hot for it to cook, because you make it hot, you stir it and it thickens, right? You don't let it thicken so much, right? That's what I'm doing. So I wanted to know how both of them will work, right? Okay, I mean, it's not both, 3 different kinds of the process, right? So I have this rubber. When it's in Ghana, when you buy your cocoa, you put it in the rubber like this. This, I will advise is the best way if you don't have all these bottles, okay? These mason jars is the best way. It's always the best way. You find out why. So I am bagging a few and putting them aside. And I also have a couple of mason jars, which I'm going to be pouring inside. And what I am doing right here is to show you, say, without you can putting the bottles in the hot water, no, the cocoa cannot just store on your counter. No, it won't work. That's what I'm trying to show. I'm trying to prove here. That's why I'm showing you this. Okay, so I'll put them in the mason jar. I'll cover them and I'll let it sit on my countertop for a few days. And this is like, I did it a week after the first canning, and this is how the cocoa looks like. The first one, it looks really, really good. There's nothing wrong with it. I'll open it at some point for you to see how nicely it has preserved. Okay, so this is it, and I've left it. I'm going to leave it to sit on my counter for, I was going for 3 days, but 2 days time, no, another thing, you can see, say, all the water had settled on top of the cocoa. You can even see it in the rubber one, no? And then the cocoa was beneath. When I open it, you see, say, fermentation was taking place, and the thing has this kind of thing. When you drink it, over boost straight. This is where chabrin comes in. So yeah, you will see. I will show you. So the reason I'm talking about chabrin, I've mentioned a few. You see the fermentation on top. Yeah, if you leave it for a few more days, it will just go bad, right? And my at this point, the one that I canned is like about 13 days or so, and here too you can see the water on top. But the beauty of this one is nothing happens to you. All that you do, you have to shake it. Okay, not what I'm holding, I meant the one in the rubber, the one I just put down. You shake it and you warm it, to work. And this is the one that we put in the hot water. We use the canning process, and you can see that it looks perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. And when you turn it upside down, it just drops like that. So what that you have to do is to give it a very good shake. You give it a very good shake, and you don't get any apo inside. What is apo? Lumps. When cocoa sits there now, it forms this layer on top, and then when you mix it, you get lumps. But when you do it this way, you don't get anything like that. I'll open it for you to see soon. Don't worry. And the bottle too, as you can see, the same thing. The water settled on top, and thing was at the bottom, but it was okay. This one didn't cause much, decay. Like the next one will cause a lot. So this one is one that is ready to be eaten. It's what you are saying. It's ready. This cocoa is ready. So the cocoa is nice and thick. So I've brought the same bottles again, and I'm going to be filling it with the cocoa, and also going to let it sit for another 3 days to see. This is just for me to see which one will preserve better, which one will preserve better for me, okay, and also for you, because I've done all the work. All that you need to do is to watch and know that, oh, this one, they are not too no good, let me do this one is much better. Okay, so yeah, I'm pouring them in the same I'm going to, in the same containers, so the flask and the mason jar, and I'm going to leave it to sit. Okay, I'm going to leave it to sit for another 3 days, so that we'll see what happens. Okay, so what I'll be doing is to be cleaning the rims and the sides of the bottle, so that all excess cocoa now will be, we don't have any excess cocoa. That's what I'm trying to say, right? Then I'll cover it and I'll store it again, okay, for 3 days, as I've just said. I'm also going to pour some in the plastic bag, okay, the freezer bag as well. Okay, so if you have trying to preserve any sort of food in a bottle, and you have excess around it now, it starts to decay early. It starts to say saying term. So that's why I was really keen on cleaning everything, because it's preservation, and we need to do all that we can to preserve our food. Okay, so again, we are not forgetting our freezer bag, okay, our rubber. That is the normal way you normally buy your cocoa in Ghana. They'll put it in this for you if you don't take your own cra. Okay, so yeah, there it goes, and another 3 days has arrived here, and yeah, you look at this one, it looks good because it was cooked. Okay, it's perfect, and you can just pop this one in your fridge, and it will stay for days and weeks for you, trust me. And this one too, even though I cooked it and the water has settled, but you see the water is not as dark as before. No, the other water was darker, and you can see fermentation around it. You can see there's a lot of fermentation going on around the rim, even though I cleaned it. And this one, you can see it like, on top of the water. You can see a layer on it. Okay, this is just you just leaving it. I'm just trying to show you that it will spoil when you just leave it on the counter. It will spoil. So don't come and tell me say it won't spoil. It will spoil. And this is just for 3 days. And the other one is still is more than a week now. The other one is like 2 weeks now. Okay, and it's still going strong. So the one that we put in hot water, and that's why I just picked. Okay, so I'm going to give it a shake, a very good. First of all, I open it, then you see how it looks like. You see, it looks perfect. There's nothing wrong with this. Everything, it looks like baby food bowl, and yeah, and you just cover it and give it a good shake, and that is it. You just put it to your microwave, you warm it, and your hausakoko is ready. Okay, so this is how you can preserve your hausakoko. This is how I have learned to preserve mine, so that every morning I can drink my hausakoko, because shabrede, if you have it and you are ready, and I say, oh no, now what that? Okay, unless you are shabrain, you cannot drink hausakoko, because when you go to class now, you definitely sleep, and when you sleep now, and what you was taught, you were not paying attention. I just say, worry cry. So yes, you give it a good shake, and you see that your cocoa will resurrect. Just say it will resurrect. Like I said, it will revive itself. It's ready to go. So that is the best. You look at how it looks like. Perfect. All I need to do is to warm it. Okay. So that is all I wanted to share with you today. Thank you for coming, for staying with me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you give it a try. And Hausa Koko Squad, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. Thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate all of you. And I'll see you in the very next one. Bye.